Now let's talk about Chiphysilum avidum. In the northern part of Nigeria, it's called Agbaluma. In the southeastern part and the southern part of Nigeria, it is called Udara or Udala. And in the southwestern part, it is called Agbalumo. Agbalumo, like it goes down. But English calls it African star fruit.
Won't say. Oh, okay.
She is one of the hundreds of sellers who flood the relief market Imo State to sell the African star fruit.
Welcome to another episode of BeeKaySays. I am BK, and today I will be telling you all you need to know about the African star fruit. How to know the sweet one particularly, because this is a question that has been on the minds of many over the years. It's a fruit of gamble. You never know. It's like you're holding a bowl of Agbalumo and then you never know which one is going to be the sweet one and which one is going to end up giving you that tooth weakening effect.
The star fruit, which is of Chrysophyllum genus, has 86 known species scattered around the globe. However, there are 5 major species with edible fruits that I will let you know of during the course of this video.
From the sweet, sour taste to the gummy skin that become gum you could chew, I'm here to tell you how to pick the tastiest and the sweetest Agbaluma you could possibly do in just a few steps that I have tried over the years and has worked out for me. So, without further ado, I'm going to go straight into what you need to know about how to pick the perfect Agbaluma. But before then, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the post notification so you get notified when another video drops. The fruit comes out between December to April. Between December, January and February is when it's at its peak and it is rampant. But from March and April, it becomes scarce, and that's the time when the really sweet and ripe ones start to come out. That's another tip you should note. The time of the year you are purchasing the Agbaluma matters. If you buy it in the early weeks or days of December and towards the ending of November, the tendency of you getting the sour one is really high because it hasn't dropped from the tree. This fruit there's no need to pluck this fruit from the tree. The tree is over 10 meters long. It is big and it is mostly farmed in the southwestern and southeastern and southern parts of southern part of Nigeria. It is large. I have seen the tree, and the fruits usually stay up above, and there's no need to climb this tree or shake it. Once it's ripe, they drop. This fruit is a perfect example of not all that glitters is gold. It has taught me over the years that not everything that looks shiny is gold. Because it is a fruit that ripens on the tree and drops naturally, when it's forced down, it may look cleaner and it may look more beautiful, but the problem is it is not tasty because it is not ripe. And a way to note this, to find this out, is I have this bowl here of Agbaluma. So I got these from the local vendors, and if you could see this, I don't know, could you see this? It still has the greenish, it has this greenish color on it. This the gum is all over it. I washed it, but it's really sticky. It has this green ring around it, which means it hadn't ripened. There's something called forced ripening. Sometimes they boil it, sometimes they put chemicals, and sometimes just tie it in a black bag and wait for it to turn orange. So you could know the ripe one by checking the ring around the mouth. And also there is the stem, which means it didn't fall naturally. I don't know if you can see this. It didn't fall naturally. It just was forcefully harvested. So if you want to know the sweet ones, they tend to look more broken. If you go to buy Udara, I'm sure this isn't the top thing you are going to pick. This looks disastrous and devastated. But honestly, it's the one that fell from the tree, and it is usually more tasty. Now, something to be wary of when taking Agbaluma is the presence of worms. How do you know one that's spoiled? You will know one that's spoiled by for safety, just open it. A couple of times I've had to consume worms and then felt at the end of it. But then open it before you start taking it. Don't just press it and take out the seeds one, because you wouldn't know what is inside. It is very prone to worms, and it gets spoiled really easily. So putting it in the fridge doesn't necessarily help it. Just put it in open air so it gets the breeze and everything to extend its shelf life. Now, another thing to note, aside the size and the indication whether it fell or not, is also the color. The bright red ones are mostly the riper ones, but in the advent of using chemicals and other adjustments, it's been found that by research, by me of course, that it is not usually the case. That is not always the case. How do you also know one that's not good? Let me see. I have one here that started. Okay, so it's when you press it, it's supposed to feel soft. It's supposed to yield, but not give way completely or be too mushy. If it's too mushy, then you have to note that probably that Agbaluma is spoiled. So the sweetness has nothing to do with size. In the southeast, when I moved to the east, I noticed there's a type they call the one Udara and Wose. Wose is the sour one, then Wanu is the naturally sugary, really sweet one that that has little or no slapping or tooth weakening effect. So that has quickly become my favorite Udara to consume, the Wanu, because Wose I really can't deal with the tooth weakening effect it gives me. So I just settle for the Wanu. The Agbaluma has a white sticky latex-like fluid that tends to gum to the mouth, the hands, and mess and be really sticky. Water doesn't take it off. You have to religiously use a sponge or use your fingers to try and scrape it off once you consume it. So it's something you don't want to take when you have matte lipstick or when you're out in public, so that you do not ruin your face or have to be extra careful when consuming due to this white gummy liquid. Now, it has a couple of health benefits. Of course, it goes without saying that fruits and vegetables are really healthy, but Agbaluma has a high content of vitamin C. Research has shown that it has a higher content of vitamin C than the orange that we say, okay, is the ultimate for vitamin C. Udara, Agbaluma, African star fruit has a higher content of vitamin C than all these things, and it is a great antioxidant. Most times it's advisable for pregnant women as it helps the sour sweet taste, helps calm nausea, and reduces cravings. Again, if you're pregnant and watching this, you should probably consult your physician about eating or consumption just to be on the safe side. It has a low amount of calories, so it's one of those fruits that you would love to consume if you're trying to be on the fit fam, and the antioxidants can do wonders for your skin. Research has also shown that ladies benefit from this because it helps ease out cramps. It helps with cramps, monthly period cramps, and it also helps gum problems, toothaches, just general gum and dentition related issues. It has 5 seeds in it, and the cluster of 5 seeds, I've eaten some that are more than 5, and I've consumed some that are less than 5 seeds in it. And these fruits, the seeds can be used for medicinal purposes. You can read up on that and verify, of course, with your physician to make sure it's safe for consumption, and it can be transplanted. It takes a couple of years to grow due to the size and the nature of its cycle. So this is not something you could just throw on. The tree is really big, so if you're looking to replant or transplant, be wary so it doesn't damage the space around where you're planting it. And something worthy of note, something great happened in the Agbaluma Udara kingdom recently. This girl on Twitter said she found a purple Agbaluma, and that pricked my interest because, of course, I'm all things Agbaluma. So I went to do a bit of research, and I realized that the African star fruit, yes, this orange one is dominant in Africa, but other countries have other star fruits. The purple Udara has been found in Jos, Imo State, and Ebonyi State based on the results I found from my search. And in Imo State, they call it Udara Onyibo, which is like the Igbo, the Onyibo people, like the foreigners, Udara, and it is called the purple star fruit. So it's in existence, but it is not known. It can only be transplanted in Nigeria. It is not something that is known to be in this region. I've mentioned a couple of Agbaluma in existence. I mentioned the orange one is the one we know as Abidim, that's African star fruit, and the purple one is called Kainito. And there's also the Sapoti and Sapodiha. Sapoti is the green one, Sapodiha is pale, sort of brownish, and Anyways, I'll attach the details to the article and the journal in the description down below, so you can do well to check that out if you want to do further research on it. It has been transformed and included into a lot of recipes. Chefs are on it, and it's definitely something I want to try out. There's Agbalumo juice now, and it's not in the market, say commercially, but then it's in existence. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, to comment, and let me know if these tips have helped you, if you would recommend this to someone that needs Agbalumo advice, and also if you have a tip or trick that you use in knowing the sweet ones, leave the comments down below in the comment section so we get to interact. Check me out on all my social media platforms, follow my photography at Blessing Korea, and check my other social media pages, of course, to catch up and take part in polls so that my videos are tailored to what you want to see.